quiet morning, but that does not mean that it has to stay quiet. We have one of our fan favorites back to join us. We have Micheal Ellis from OIT. Hold, please, while I'm a parent. Girls, I'm on a call. Respect, please. Thank you. Okay, so we have our fan favorite, Micheal Ellis from OIT. He's back from leave. I wish you were working from home so we could see a small human being that is your new addition to your family. Can everybody congratulate Micheal on his new addition to his family? He's such an amazing guy. I'm so happy for you and your family.
Thanks. Yeah, he is huge. He's 10 weeks old, but he's in 6-month clothes, and he's like filling those out. It's growing too big too quickly. Not really.
They do grow so big so fast. I feel you there. Okay, for everybody who's new, hi, I'm Casey Park. Welcome to the HR Fireside Chat. This is our weekly touch point with campus where we give you our weekly updates, any new information, and we love having special guests. That's why we bring back the amazing Micheal Ellis. He's going to talk with us today about SARB, and he's going to explain the why so many questions. I thought it was super timely that we were talking about the SARB because I'm going to full on say I attempted to fill out the SARB when we were getting the Headspace stuff done, and I failed miserably. I handed that off to Sean and said, "Good luck, sir. This is above what I know." But Micheal's here to break it down for us, and I'm going to make you a co-host real quick, Micheal. So if you have any websites you want to show us, you are welcome to. And I just appreciate your time because as someone who has fumbled through this form, I'd love to know why so many questions and how can we make it a little easier on ourselves. But first, I think you have some backstory.
Yeah, so Casey, thanks for the opportunity to talk today. I will just try to set the table for everybody. I'll go over what SARB is, why we do it at the university, and then go and answer any questions that you may have. If I can't answer them in the call, let's definitely find a time after the meeting to touch base and talk through them. But that's kind of my plan today. Let me get the PowerPoint going. Hopefully everybody, maybe Casey can tell me if you see
We see it.
Okay.
You are good to go, sir.
Thank you. All right, so let's see. The history of SARB. So SARB has had many iterations. I've been here for 4 years, and it's had 3 different iterations in that time. I believe it's been on the campus for about 6 to 8 years total. It used to stand for Software Architecture Review Board. So, and it was hosted on SharePoint and then Team Dynamics. And then there was a wonderful woman that used to work here named Tammy Schmidt in OIT Communications, and she handled all the accessibility reviews. And when she retired, the project management office that I work in took over accessibility reviews, and then we changed it to Software and Accessibility Review Board, but modified architecture for accessibility. And we've been in 3 different systems, right? Team Dynamics, Google, and ServiceNow. And I'm super happy that we're in ServiceNow because that has made it, I think, easier for our requesters to submit questions, and it has conditional logic, so you don't have to answer all of the questions, theoretically. SARB's function. So why do you have to submit a SARB request? We as a university really want to understand use case. If there is something that we already have on campus that we've approved, it mitigates risk to have, if we have 8 softwares that do the same thing, that just opens up different vulnerabilities for the university. So if we can maximize economies of scale and knowledge base with having multiple stewards that know the information, That's great. We also want to understand from an OIT perspective, does it require server space? If so, does OIT need to procure more server space? What type of maintenance and support does the help desk or the application administrators need to be aware of? If there are any integrations, does OIT accounts need to be involved? So we're really just trying to understand the use case so that we can help maximize, your business needs. And SARB is just the way that we go about doing that. Sorry, I should say, with that, let's see, we'll leave it here. There are two things to be aware of in SARB that are like offshoots of SARB, which is one, if there's sensitive data that's being stored. So this is like PII data, FERPA data, HIPAA data, PCI data. Then there's another process called like a vendor security assessment that needs to be done to make sure that the vendor is adhering to Boise State standards. And then the other thing is accessibility. So if students or the general public are using this software, we have a policy 8140 that kind of wraps its arms around accessibility at the university, and we make sure that the software is adhering to policy 8140, and where it's limited or where the software isn't accessible, that we make you, the customer, aware of that, so that if needed, that you can make what's called an EEAAP, equally effective alternative action plan, because everybody should have the ability to be successful at Boise State. Accessibility and the SARB process is just a way to make sure that faculty, staff that have students that are using the software, that this kind of gives them the outline of what information may not be accessible and how, and then it's your job to figure out can we make sure that they have a successful interaction with the software. Something like a good example of this would be like since COVID, right? Virtual conference software, being able to enter a platform, exit a platform, not having keyboard traps, things like that are really imperative for people with accessibility needs. So there are some things that I am able to approve within the project management office, but if not, there are thresholds that are met, then it goes to our SARB committee. There are 2 members from each one of these teams that review the software. They have 5 business days to review that software, ask questions, and I work with them and the requester and the vendor to get those questions answered. We're trying to work towards a yes, but the CISO, the Chief Information Security Officer's office, if they say no, the request is usually dead in the water. That if you do receive a no vote, you can petition it, and it goes to the office of the CIO. So Max Davis Johnson, Brian Bolt, and Doug Uli, and they will review it. So our workflow, the premise of SARB, when I got here, it was we received 8 to 12 requests a month, and we had 4 business analysts working on those. And now we receive 30 to 40 requests a month, and it's just me. So the biggest change in SARB has been, we used to have a form that was like 6 to 8 questions long. It was all use case based. And then the project management office would go work with the vendor to get all of the technical information. But when we lost our resources to do SARB requests and they spiked up so much, we put the onus on the requester to get the technical information for us, because it would be over a full-time job for me to get all of that information every month from all of the different vendors.
Wait, we can't phone you?
I mean, from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, that is totally cool.
That seems to be my theme for the day. Thanks everyone for putting up with me.
But yeah, so when we receive a request now, we're getting that technical information. I review it, make sure if there are any gaps that we try to close those, and then figure out if it needs a security review, if it needs an accessibility review, and if it needs to go to the SARB committee. And then finally there it gets approved or declined. But we're typically always going for an approval, where I'm trying to get to a yes. Renewals. Okay, so the biggest change for us lately is if you have a renewal software request that's been previously approved through SARB and it's by the same requesting department and there are no changes, then you can complete a modified form within the request form, and it reduces the total questions from 48 to 18. So this has been something that people have been asking for a long time, and we were finally able to make those changes about a month ago. And I feel like I've gotten a lot of positive feedback, because I feel bad for requesters that, you know, I don't want you to have to answer something that's 50 questions long if nothing has changed. So this has been a way for us to pare down the onus on the requesters. And then moving forward, you know, this would be like 2022, 2023 potentially. Once we get a good accumulation of requests in ServiceNow, maybe we can look at doing like auto renewals that would just message you when your contract's about up in ServiceNow, and then you could just resubmit an old request if there are no changes. So that wouldn't happen for at least a year and a half, but I think we need to build up our inventory in ServiceNow, but that is something that we could potentially do in the future. So
wish lists are good to have, and it sounds like auto emails would be appreciated. Thanks, Stephanie, for the comment.
And that's kind of SARB in a nutshell. If you ever have questions about software accessibility reviews, please reach out. I'm happy to meet with you one-on-one. Happy to field any questions if there are any one-off questions about SARB, and help you better understand what or why we're doing what we're doing.
So we do have a question in chat.
Oh.
When you're requesting software that was approved somewhere else on campus, can we get a copy of that form that they did it so they can, there's a way to do that. How do they
so if I have that's a great question, Wendy. If I have the previous request from a different department, I'm happy to share that with you. But I will say, when we moved off of Team Dynamics, all of that historical knowledge went away. We didn't get to save any of those forms. So when we moved to ServiceNow 6-8 months ago, I think it was, we kind of started fresh there. So anywho, that's why we may not have the records right now. And but yes, I'm happy to share that.
We have a hand raised. Texie, take it away.
Well, I'll just say that we in OGC, we save the SARB approvals and always have, I think. So if it's a contract that you did in the past, or you happen to know that it was approved, we might have some record in our file of that. So you can ask contracts@boisestate.edu if you think that there's a SARB approval for a certain software. But again, I mean, it's not a guarantee just because it's the same name that it's the same software. But anyway, just thought that might be helpful.
Texie, do you mind throwing that email into chat just as a way people can double check?
I will do that.
I love my resources on this call. Y'all are amazing. We have a question from Courtney. If the vendor has questions about the SARB question, is it best to send Micheal an email directly, or do you have like a catch-all email for all questions SARB?
Yeah, so I will put that in chat. It's sarb@boisestate.edu. That goes to me. So either or, it works. But yes, send them to me. Every once in a while, we are asked to sign a non-disclosure agreement. So sometimes vendors are really nervous about their proprietary knowledge and, want us to sign to make sure that we're not going to share this information with anybody. So that's a common question we get. Usually, I don't know, we probably sign 10 NDAs a year, but sometimes they just want to know more about why we do software reviews. Thank you, Texie, by the way, for saying that. I did not know that OGC did that, and that's a great resource. So.
And then Nicole threw in chat a software application inventory, which, yes, that is an awesome document. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So all software that's been previously approved, at least since I've been here, goes into the software app or into the application inventory. This is the resource I would recommend if you're starting from scratch and need a place to start for wanting a software. You can go there and do a quick Control F and search what software has been approved. If we have an accessibility review done on this software, that'll be denoted with a date stamp in the box, and that way you can know like, oh, okay, it was approved for accessibility as well. So that is the place I would, most of the time SARB is a landing spot after you've already solved your problem. But if you have not solved your problem yet, the application inventory or reaching out to me is a really good place to start to know what's available to you on campus.
So Stephanie had thrown in chat that she has an Excel spreadsheet with the questions. One of the things about creating your own workaround is if the questions get updated. But what I love and what I did try to do when I was working on the Headspace SARB was I went to this page. Oh, you do one for each project. See, that's smart because then you go to the website, which I just threw in there. And these were the questions that I just copy pasted in an email and kind of threw at the poor vendor and was like, I have no idea what any of this means. Please fill this.
So within, and I'd be happy to adjust this if it would help, but I can share my screen again. And how do I exit this? There we go. Share my screen. So like Casey was saying, we try to place our questions. Anytime we update our questions, the website's the best place to refer to. But this is where you can go. This is where our software application inventory link is. And then if you don't understand the questions, and I can work on this with maybe Casey or somebody else, if you'd like, there should be help text within the actual SARB request form that you can go and let's see if there's a little question mark here. So it gives kind of additional help text as to like what this is asking for. Will OIT departments be involved, et cetera, et cetera. There's some grade text here, right? So there's some additional information, but if you'd like that more front facing on the questionnaire page, I'd be happy to work with OIT communications to update our website to have that information front loaded. Oh yes, Valerie puts a good point. We have a 60-minute timeout. I think it says it right there, but yes, it will time out if you do not submit it by then. The other thing that you can do is if you're working on getting information from the vendor and you don't have all of it, feel free to submit what you have, and then you can email me the rest of the answers when you get them, and I can update it on the back end.
You are so kind, Michael. I love that we have so many different ways of doing this. I see now why Stephanie has the Excel sheet. That probably helps a lot with managing which of those questions still needs answered too.
Yes. I think Stephanie, along with used to be Nikki Gomez in athletics, were probably and Valerie and SPS are probably like the three of the most
repeat offenders.
No, happy customers, maybe.
Happy company.
I don't know. They may not. I don't know. So
Stephanie's smiling, so I'm gonna guess yes.
I'm a user.
Yeah.
I love you guys. You're right. You're great. Do we have any questions about the SARB frequent flyer? That's a good one, Texie. Do we have any other questions?
No, I don't have any questions. I just want to do a little plug here, which is we've seen, at least during the pandemic, a number of people go out and purchase software and then want a reimbursement on it. And they happen to have the contract reviewed or have the SARB. And so just maybe a reminder to your team members that this exists and that an employee reimbursement is the absolute last resort. Anyone should get anything paid, they should use requisitions or P cards in that case. So I just want to say that, because there's nothing that sucks more than having to deny someone's expense report because they didn't follow policy. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah, absolutely. Alicia's spot on. We've had a lot of those come up throughout the pandemic.
Thanks, Alicia. Wendy, you have a hand up, and then we have a question in chat too.
Yeah, and actually my question relates to the question in chat, so I think we'll answer both. I know from SPS doing a lot of these, Micheal, working with Valerie, even though the software is already on the inventory list is approved for campus, we still have to submit an approval for our department. So my question is, do you think there's a way that we could use that shorter form if it's already approved software on campus, can we use that shorter renewal form to get it for our department instead of starting from scratch on something that's already been approved? Because that's, I think, where we run into is faculty will say, I know this is already being used by my colleague over there. We know it's been approved. Why are we having to go through a 2-week approval process? Like, is there a way to shorten it when it's something you've already looked at?
Yeah, that's a great question. There are probably two areas to go down that. One is we could completely revamp SARB so that when a software is requested, we do a full review, even if the use case dictates that, like, even if there isn't sensitive data, right, or students or general public using the software, we could do a full, complete review of the software to make sure that it's approved for the university. And then you would know, okay, that software is totally approved, and we just would need some use case information from you, and then to complete still probably a vendor security assessment and accessibility acknowledgement statement. But that would shorten it up. It would be much longer on the front end for those requesters up front, though, because even if they were not using it for those intentions, it would get a full SARB review. The reason we have you complete another SARB request is to understand your use case. A good example is, trying to think of a software. You could have a software like GradeScope is a good one, where sometimes, right, one professor wants to store quiz answers, which would then be protected data, sensitive data on GradeScope's website, and another one doesn't. And if you do that, then there's two different reviews that are taking place there. And so that's why. But I think back to your original question, if I can get you some of the technical answers, or if OGC can get you some of the technical answers, that would speed the process up for you if it's being used the same way. And as we get more requests in ServiceNow, that'll become an easier and easier thing for us to get for people.
Yeah, I wonder too, I mean, maybe just as a suggestion or food for thought is, if we already have a software approved on campus, before we fill out the 60 questions and try to gather all that technical information, which is what takes a long time for non-technical admins who are trying to do this work sometimes, is there maybe there's a form we start with that is like, this is already approved on campus and I'm looking at buying it too, and that form is more checking that usage so that you can compare that to what it's already approved for and then say, yep, you're good. Your same usage. We've already checked for that. We're good to go. Or no, sorry, this is something different. We need to do a review, fill out the long form. Like, is there some other, like, this is already approved on campus, we also want it, something we could create that's shorter that would help you to answer that question before all the work goes in?
I think the way that I could, yeah, no, that's a great question. I think the way we could do that is if in our application inventory, let me go to that real quick. And then pull up my screen for an idea. On the screen. I think the way to go about that, Wendy, would be is if I could hyperlink each one of these requests that would then have the technical information in them. That'd be a lot of work, and we'd have to, get a lot of this information as renewals come in. But that would be one place that if we could put that information out more front facing for you to review before you submit a SARB request. And then that way you would know, like, hey, it's the same as, biology, or it's the same as the English department's using it. That might be a way we could go about that in the future. So I think that's a really good idea to try to get you, the requester, more front-facing information. Let me see. Right now, we have what, 670.
Yeah.
I only have less than 200 software requests in service now, so it would take me a while to get this list populated. But let me see what I can do to try to make that more of a reality. And maybe
I'm certainly not trying to add work, weeks of workload. And I know you've worked with Valerie a lot and trying to make some improvements and ask for feedback. And I greatly appreciate your openness and willingness. And as a supervisor who sits back and works with employees trying to do it, I hear their frustrations too. So we're always trying to come up with better workflow processes. So whatever you think is best, and I'm happy to help and give suggestions too, but thank you for your openness and willingness. I just always feel like there's got to be a quicker way. When we do something that takes this long, there's got to be a quicker way, especially when it's already been done somewhere else on campus. We got to figure out how to leverage that somehow.
Absolutely.
Michael needs to borrow a student to do a 600 and some odd Google Docs that are
Work study are great for things like that.
And you can start them as early as July 1st, as long as they're registered for classes.
Yeah, I'll hire them for you, Michael.
All right. Well,
welcome.
I'm good at that.
I appreciate this is how I think we get things better, right? Like, SARB should be a never-ending, we should always be trying to improve our systems and our procedures. So I appreciate Casey giving me this platform to be able to get more of this feedback so that we can make improvements, so that ultimately it makes all of your lives easier and less work, less cumbersome.
I love that Valerie also threw out there that she has some of the technical information on record. So there might be a way to partner with people who, already have the information. We had a student that did a similar cumbersome project for us, and we have to extend our gratitude for making them do some of the grind work. So, and honestly, Michael, thank you for being here and having the mindset of, I want to help explain what this is, and I'm open to hearing how I can do it better and how we can do it better. He's the guy.
I know that I think SARB is largely viewed as a roadblock between getting you what you want and a time parameter, like we needed this yesterday. And so anything I can do to close that gap, I want to do. I just want to make sure that we as a university are, not putting our community at risk in any kind of way, and that we're making sure that software is accessible to everybody as it should be. So those things I think take time inherently, but I see the value and the merit in those, because as I don't have, accessibility issues, but I can only imagine when I work through software that does, how frustrating it would be to an end user. So I think sometimes it's really important to keep that in mind. Like, there's a reason we're doing this.
And I appreciate that. And if anybody ever wants, I'm going to have to just ask her to come and do a fireside chat. Carolyn Quintero, who's on the OIT communications team, she has run our HR team through an accessibility training, and it was very eye-opening. Our website in particular, because she handles web accessibility, it's an intense experience to say the least. Well, I want to open the floor to anybody who has questions for Micheal on SARB or any follow-up on that topic before I open it up to HR updates. Zoom pause now.
Casey, can I make a plug for something else while I'm here?
Always. This
so
is my platform is your platform.
Emails will be going out later this month, but for those of you that are on campus, working on campus, the Duo multi-factor authentication that you're all doing remotely, that'll be heading to on campus as well. That'll happen Thursday, July 8th is what we're shooting for. So if you are on campus, you'll have to two-factor authenticate into like My Boise State and things like that. You should still be able to hit the Remember Me button for 7 days, so that if you are if let's say you're just at your desk, you won't have to like redo it every day, but once a week. So, but that is coming on the 8th.
I appreciate that heads up. And I have recently learned clear your cache is a simple solution to when it's not working. I was like, what is happening? Shad was very kind. Clear your cache. Like, right.
That is wonderful. And I'm not just saying that because he works right behind me, but he is wonderful.
He's within earshot.
Yes, all of my issues are resolved by clearing my cache.
Yes.
It's hilarious.
I feel like that should cure cancer. Just anyways. Okay. Well, if no one has anything else for Micheal, and you said that update is going to be coming out this week or next.
So it's 2 weeks ahead of go live, so it should come out, I want to say the 24th of this month. And then that'll be a newsletter, and then I think that'll be an update on the 24th, and then on the 29th it'll be an OIT newsletter, and then we will be emailing faculty as we get closer to the start of the semester, because I don't want it to be I want it to be kind of higher at the top of their email queue than kind of in the middle. So
yes.
And then we'll be going to facilities and sub and communicating with them directly as well, because I know they have a lot of employees that are working on campus. So, but if you have questions about that or SARB, feel free to reach out to me. And thank you again, Casey, for the time.
Always. Wendy, you on mic? Did you have something for us?
I feel like I always did, so then I muted it again. I know we have one faculty member that doesn't use cell phones, and I think he was able to get the button or whatever, but yeah. I'm wondering with a lot of student workers and Duo authentication on campus, can you do that with an alternative email address? I just wonder about people, well, even me, like my phone, I forget it or it's not charged. So like being on campus, not having to do that has been a blessing for me many times over. So I'm just trying to think of the best way to do that in the event my phone isn't with me or charged.
Yeah, great question, Wendy. So there are 3 ways that you can two-factor authenticate. One is through a cell phone that, I should say a smartphone that allows push notifications, and there's a Duo app. That's probably the easiest way. The next way is with any phone. It could be a landline or a cell phone that you can receive phone calls to, and then you can two-factor authenticate through that. And then the third option is what Wendy was alluding to. They're called hardware tokens. Your department can purchase those. They're $45. It's kind of like I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like a little key fob. I don't have a key fob. Yeah, I do. Sorry. Yeah. Like for my vehicle. They're probably about this size, probably smaller. And you push a green button when you get prompted, and it'll spit out a 6-digit code. And that's how another way you can 2-factor authenticate. But those are only being sold through, like, you can't go buy those. It has to be through your department, but $45. And if you want those, you can start requesting those now. I can push a link in the chat for multi-factor authentication at Boise State, and I'll have all of this information.
Does each person have to have their own fob, or
Yes.
like, could we have one at the student worker desk? No. Okay.
No, sorry. Yeah, it's a great question. So the fob is actually paired to that, most likely their EMPL ID. So another good question is, so, hey, I bought a fob for somebody, they left the university. You can still use that fob, but it would have to be repaired to the new employee.
Stephanie, what do you got for us?
I was just going to mention that when this first was implemented, I had a few people come to me, and I had experienced it myself, so it made sense. It didn't make sense to me when you get that little, how you log into the, what's it called? Duo.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't make sense to me that I had to put 1, 2, or 3 in there.
Oh,
now it's just automatic.
The VPN.
But maybe you could, huh?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So I think maybe giving those instructions when you send it out probably would be helpful to people, because it didn't make sense. It doesn't give you instructions to say, make a selection.
Yeah, it's all right, Casey, I'll share my screen.
Go for it. I love it when we help explain.
So this is what, Stephanie, if I'm correct, this is what you're referring to, right?
I'm wrong. It does tell you.
Yeah, so you have to enter a 1 or a 2 in the answer box, and it'll either send you a push or a phone call to whichever option you choose. So,
and I think what I was looking at is maybe what messed me up was that I didn't know to just enter number 1. I think I was trying to select it, like it says.
Oh, got it. Like you were trying to click 1.
Yeah.
As opposed to putting in
exactly.
1. Yeah. So
thank you, though.
Absolutely. Great question.
So I love this, because this is where I was like, I was putting in 1 and then it was kicking me out, and I was like, but why? And that was when they were like, clear your cache, honey. And I'm like, oh, okay. So we solved all of our troubleshooting problems in mass today. Thank you, Michael, for being here, because these are steps that we take every day. And then even some of us multiple times a day, if we have to, if we don't do the remember me for 7 days, which sometimes I do.
Happy to go through this anytime there are questions. And if it would be helpful after we go live on campus later this summer, I'd be happy to come back and field any questions.
Because he's the nicest guy. Okay. Any other questions on that? I know everybody's like, it's a Tuesday and it's summer. Can we just go outside? I would recommend everybody put on sunscreen and go for a walk and enjoy the beautiful day. Michael, I appreciate your time and your patience with us and your openness to just make this a better process for everybody. I once overheard in my office, Micheal Ellis for president. Okay, I can get behind that, Texie. So much fun. But so as far as HR updates go, I have very few other than CEC. We are working on a mass communication to go out to campus along with a website with information and the comp ratio matrix, which if Kevin's on the call, he can talk about that all day. I listen to him and trust him, but I don't fully understand it. So then I poke at him, and I tried to make the website as user-friendly as possible, and now I can use it. So hopefully you can too. If you have questions about that, please let us know. I'm hoping after my 1 o'clock, we'll be able to get the go ahead to go with that sometime today, tomorrow, or Thursday. I hate Friday comms. So I'm going to be pushing hard for before end of day Thursday for a comm out to all of you guys. And that's what I have on CEC. Sorry, it's not an actual number, but I do have to let it get released with the Broadcom. I can say everybody is going to be happy though. Anyways, that aside, I have an update from, as an HR comm person, I broke our website again. So if you, I know I did it again. There were some things that HR has a long history, and Michael can attest to this, of weird business practices when it comes to their website. So our website. So I killed about 7 sites and thought I had put most of those pages, if not all of them, under the main site, but all of your links broke, and not all of the auto reconnects worked. That's my bad. And then I went on vacation. That was great of me. So I'll own that that was a mess. We've got the compliance and the student compliance form back up and running. So those are good. And I just got another web edit today from the lovely Karen Hansen that's going to be up later today. If you notice something is broken, chances are that it's a different URL. So I'm going to do a thing real quick. I'm going to pull up our soon to be gorgeous, still a work in progress HR website, because oh my gosh, this is a love-hate relationship. This is our gorgeous site. We used to have payroll benefits be its own site, which was kind of a mess. So they were the first ones we migrated. So if you have a broken URL, probably because this portion right here is like a big long phrase that says employees or classified employees or compliance or something weird. Try to replace it with HRS and leave the rest of the URL the same, and see if that page now just exists under our main HR site, or send me an email and I'll try to find it for you. Whichever you want to play as a curious human being. We will be working on re-navigating and reworking a lot of our pages in the coming weeks. I'm hoping to have it ready to go and in a much better shape come August, you know, just in time for the semesters to start. And on that vein, I will get to be working with the welcome team. Jordy, give everybody a wave. We were going to do an audit of all the welcome pages for hopefully an upcoming DRC meeting, where we can walk you through the how to hire pages that will have made some improvements, but then also be taking some of your comments on what you would like to see on some of those pages to provide clarity. So if you're excited about that, give me a thumbs up. I got a heart from Michelle Gordon on the welcome team. That made me feel good. Oh, got another one. Okay, so please accept my humble apology that I broke something, and I will fix it. My whole team was like, what did you do? I'm like, you know, my thing. It's a good thing they love me, and y'all do too. Okay, that's it for me. Does anybody have any questions for any of your HR professionals that are on this call? Anything that I can help you with? Oh my gosh, this has been one of the quietest calls in months.
Hi, Casey. It's Marianne.
Marianne, how's it going?
Good. Hey, I stuck this in the chat, but you know one might see the FY22 holiday calendar on.
Oh, yeah. Let me talk to Crystal about that. She has been buried in HCM stuff. So I think I was waiting on something, and I'm sure that you sent me a chat or an email, and I might have been on vacation.
Yeah. I mean, most of them are the same, but sometimes, like, some things are a little different year to year. So
they are a little different. As far as I know, the upcoming holiday that is, on everybody's mind because we're going to get paid for it is going to be 4th of July, which will be observed on Monday. I do know that. If that is not presently on the calendar, please be aware Monday will be the observed holiday. That means you can actually go enjoy the 4th of July and not feel like you have to drag yourself out of bed and go to work. Whoever, like, the 4th of July hits on a Wednesday, that Thursday is awful. Okay. I will give you back the gift of time if you have nothing else for me. If not, I'm here to answer individual questions.
Casey?
Yes.
For anybody who has the printing and graphics calendars that they order from our printing and graphics, they have the holidays through the rest of December anyway of 2021.
Huh. Maybe I'll just bug Melinda Keckler and see if I can get one of those, because I haven't been on campus, and update our website. So thanks for the tip, Julie.
The calendar's out for 21. I think she was asking about the 22, because our holiday calendars go calendar year, not fiscal year.
This place sometimes is so fun. We get to go calendar year, academic year, fiscal year. Yes, let me track that down. You're right. We're going to go into next year. Okay, we're losing people. Enjoy your day.
Thank you.
Thanks everybody for your input.